Hello once again, Star Wars and Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, here with another Sideshow Hot Toys retrospective review, where we're going to take two figures from the early days of Sideshow and give a quick talk through about them and let you know my thoughts now that we have them in. I guess it's been quite a few years now. These particular two figures, Sideshow started making toys in 2005 for Star Wars, so they came out 17 years ago at the time of this recording. So they have been on beautiful display in the Star Wars Darth Tuba display, collection, and I'm happy to be able to share them with you. I don't believe these figures were unboxed on this channel. I do believe we will eventually get to some that were, but I think that is more only up to about 4 years ago, because I think I started making this channel. I'm in the 500s, so figure 2 a year, right? So 2, 4, so 5 years, and then we're kind of on our way to getting about 5.5 years, right? So what is that? 2015, 2016. So you're talking about figures that came out around the time The Force Awakens came out, and anything that was happened to be released from other movies at that time. So we are dealing with some really early on stuff. I'm sure you can find many of these for sale at an eBay and in places like that, as well as toy shows. However, you are going to find them used or in a displayable condition, but the things that have been on display, I think you have to wait a little bit for a turnaround, because many collectors who swipe these up took them, and keep holding on to them very tightly. These figures, these are Sideshow figures. This is before the Hot Toys brand kind of merged with them or joined with them, and I believe they were in the $80 to $100 range when they first were sold. I think nowadays these figures sell for closer to $150, $175, $200, and the Hot Toys figures coming out can sell from anywhere between $200 to $400, depending on how much, what goes on with them. As I've mentioned on my other, when I started releasing these kind of episodes, these figures are displayable figures. They are not brand new. They are not mint in box. I have the boxes. They're in storage. So most of them come with multiple accessories, multiple hand choices for grip or pointing or using the Force or what have you. And I have them still. I just put them in storage, but I keep the figures out. So we are going to start with a lesser known these are two Jedi. And this is a lesser known one, but one that's still pretty popular particularly among prequel fans, and that is Mr. Kit Fisto. Yes, I really enjoyed this figure because it was such a departure from what the Sideshow was doing when it came to aliens. There weren't that many aliens that they were making, at least not in 2005. In fact, this might have been the only one. I think they created an Anakin, an Anakin / Darth Vader, an Obi-Wan, a Qui-Gon, a Han Solo, but and of course a Luke Skywalker Jedi. But I think he was among the first aliens. So I thought, well, we got to get this guy out here and show you him. So there he is in all of his smiling glory. Well, he's not really smiling in this one. I kind of missed that. I wish he was smiling, but you can see, really beautiful head sculpt. Aliens, of course, since they were sculpted anyway to begin with, I think kind of lend themselves pretty well to these kind of high-end figures. I opted in his case to not have the lit or the, lightsaber with the blade itself, and opted instead, as you can see there, he has his blade, his hilt hanging from his belt. And that was a conscious decision, because I had a lot of figures that all had their lightsabers lit, and they were starting to bump into each other, for one thing. And that's one of the reasons on my previous episode I mentioned that Luke Skywalker's hilt broke, so the bottom of it. So a part of that was there was just a lot of crowding going on. So I wanted to try a different view. So I actually ended up giving him the razor. If you look at his hands, he's got the communicator there, the little walkie-talkie, which was essentially a lady's, like a Gillette razor. Okay, look it up, it's true. And they just kind of added a few greeblies to it, and that is what he uses. He never uses it in the show, maybe on the Clone Wars cartoon series, But there you go. And of course they had to do some creativity with his hood. His hood is and neck piece is pretty big for things to fit around the back. He's got these, I guess, squid-like tentacles that kind of go off the back of his head. So therefore there has to be a lot of room for them. So they created this huge thing. But on this, it works. Okay, you put him on there, and unlike when I showed my Luke or my Obi-Wan last week, or the last episode rather, this felt weird because it was just sitting there, and there was nothing underneath. This not so much, because look at it, there it is. It's like that's all of his head. I'm gonna say Leku, like the Twi'leks, but it's not really that. So he has all that, so it's fine. But if you don't want it, no problem. Just bring it off the back and just drape it off, and you just kind of, again, it has that metal little wire that helps you form and display the hood, so you can just kind of fold it up against it, and then you got his setup there. All right, so like I've been doing with the Jedi, I will remove his cloak gently. I do appreciate the large sleeves that the characters have, because it allows for us to do that. Now, this is going to take a little bit of creativity here. Oh, maybe not. No, it's good. The robe itself, again, made of a... I knew that was going to happen. Where'd you go? There you are. Don't you get lost. The robe itself is essentially it's a similar fabric to what the robes were. I don't think it was the exact fabric, but it does have a similar look and similar feel. Translates well to a figure size. So there you go. All right, so now what I'm going to do here, I need to kind of have him, move him up a little bit, because he seems to be kind of, yeah, I think that's a little bit. I think his robe was giving him some issues there. So I really like the tunic they gave him. And I'm trying to think, do we ever see Kit Fisto without a cloak on in the live action episode 2 and 3? I don't think we do. I think he always has the cloak on. No, I think he doesn't have it on with the Geonosis fight, or he might remove it at some point, because it's hard to fight with these robes. So I think he kind of goes like that. And I love the color. It's a little different, right? Doesn't fall into the same... oh, poor guy. Let me give you back your... Yeah, all right, there he is. It doesn't fall into the same thing. Now, I will say this: the tentacles on the back, they are not very... they don't really move much. All right, they just kind of like, they have a little bit of looseness to them, but two of them are kind of molded together, and two of them over here molded together. So they just kind of have a little bit of thing, and it does pull his whole body and head back. So you got to be careful with that. And I keep kind of pushing him forward. I mean, the stand is definitely necessary, because I think if you tried to stand this guy on his own, the weight of his head, he'd fall right back. So you got to be careful with that. But there you go. You can see. Okay, nice, just a nice figure overall. I mean, obviously these are characters that were created, with the understanding that they just wanted to have a whole slew of Jedi ready to fight in the Geonosis arena, and they didn't want it to all be humans, so they kind of put a lot of thought together about the face and everything else. But I do find it interesting that most of those Jedis, even the ones with prosthetics and masks and things of that nature, from the neck down, they were essentially human or humanoid, which is fine. I have nothing against that. But there was that one Jedi that tried to kill. It almost got this close to ending everything and killing Dooku, and then gunslinger Jango Fett shot him and he fell. I think that Jedi had a little bit more of a wide stance, like a little less human, more alien kind of thing to him. So this is kind of a the character of Kit Fisto. We have to suspend our belief that Jedi, the only Jedi you're going to see are Jedi that are humanoid from the neck down, and everything else might be different. So who knows? Maybe that's just the way the galaxy wanted it. But I do think it was a production decision and not a world building decision. So there he is, Kit Fisto. You know him, you love him. Comes with little pouches instead of pockets around his tunic. Really cool thing. I wish society would make that a thing. I'd love to walk around with a belt that had all pouches on it, instead of pockets. Sometimes my thing, like my phone's in one pocket, my keys are in one pocket, and I just wish I could just keep them in pouches. So I might try to make that a thing. But anyway, so there's Kit Fisto. All right, so following in the same area now, I will say in my last episode I had a prequel character, Obi-Wan Kenobi, from Revenge of the Sith. You can go back and check that one out. And I also had Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight from Return of the Jedi. So I had two different eras. In this case, we decided to go with the same era. I am trying to, if I do this, I want to do it in some kind of a close to order of release. Okay, so it just so happened that 2005, Revenge of the Sith came out. The prequels were very hot at that point, so Sideshow was releasing a lot of prequel-heavy figures. So this next one, you gotta love. To know him is to love him. And that is our own Mace WIndu. There he is. Look at this man. Look at this guy. Look at his purple lightsaber. I mean, all I remember is making that entrance. And all you saw were his feet and his robe going across, and that great little moment from John Williams, dun dun dun. Like you knew something was about to happen, and he pulled out his saber right above Jango Fett. How funny is that? He was right over Jango Fett's neck there, and think about the whole book of Boba Fett story is continuing, and it started there. Oh my God, it's so interesting. I love the world building that we're having right now. This party's over. So, Samuel L. Jackson was a far more muted actor when it came to the prequels. He kept it very calm, very, very serene, almost Vulcan-like for the Star Trek fans out there. And, he had a few moments and, where he got a little bit more energetic. But generally speaking, he was definitely more understated, which is fine. We get a lot of Samuel L. Jackson. We have no shortage of over-the-top Samuel L. Jackson, i.e. Snakes on a Plane. If you need total, full-out Samuel L. Jackson, there's a movie for you to watch. But in this case, it was just really fun to be able to, to have his full-out Jedi garb for, I do believe this is for episode 2. I mean, I know, he was also featured prominently in episode 3, where he allegedly died. I'm sorry, but I've seen Jedi fall from great heights, and I've seen Jedi get electrocuted. I don't believe he's dead, and I think we're going to see something soon. Maybe this year, maybe next year, who knows? Maybe Lucasfilm has an idea and they're just saving it for just the right time. And I know that because they can't. There are some characters that like all the characters in Order 66. If they blew up with a ship or they were shot by 27 clone troopers, there's not much you can do. But this one, a lot of people are hoping, and so am I. Anyway, so here he is. He's got the robe, right? We'll do the little robe thing just like we were doing. Okay. Again, this one, unlike Kit Fisto, I mean, the only thing I can do with him is that I can make it look a little bit like the end of episode 1, where he kind of like, the mysterious person was a Sith, which was destroyed, the master or the apprentice, But again, if you look from the back, and you can see it kind of trails off a little bit. So it's a cool look from the front, okay? It's a cool, I think, you can go even further if you want. You can kind of do the the whole thing like that, where his face is partially hidden, right? You can do that. There you go. Which is kind of cool, a little Phantom-like, right? But again, he still has a lot going on in the back there, all right? So I tend to keep him just like that. And again, you can just take the robe and just fold it back. All right, speaking of that, let's get this robe off of him. Now, hopefully I can get his lightsaber off and then back on later. I've said this on previous episodes. If you ever watch, and I do get new ones. I have put in orders, but I will be honest. I do tend to. His little tunic thing kind of came off. I'm going to have to adjust that. There we go. The funny thing about these costumes is that they are very movie accurate in terms of how they're put on the costume, how they're put on. It's not like it's just a whole thing that you put on and just snap in the back like it's a costume that Ken from Barbie and Ken wore. They do pay a little more attention to the accuracy of it. I will say that I appreciate that. But one of the complaints I've had, and if you've seen, I do order new Sideshow, or I guess mostly now it's Hot Toys. I do order some, but I do make the flex payments just because it's an excessive amount of money to just keep, oh, I'm going to buy that, oh, I'm going to buy that, oh, I'm going to buy that. That's like hundreds of dollars in one shot. So I try to space it out. I don't buy them all. And I'm buying fewer and fewer, to be perfectly frank. I haven't really had the need to get more. A lot of times they're just re-releasing old ones, or just new versions of older figures, or very ancillary characters from the Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett, and I'm just not interested in trying to be a completist with this. As I've said, it's too expensive to do. I don't recommend it. What I recommend is you pick and choose things that resonate with you, and you go with that. Again, like the other robe, pretty much a similar fabric. This one is obviously a lighter brown, kind of goes with whatever, they try to keep it as movie accurate as possible. So there you go. And then we have his tunic, which is essentially kind of that brown orange with a little orange tinge, right? So there you go. But look at that face. That's a pretty good face, I think. And this was unlike Kid Fisto, which was just an alien that you could sculpt, trying to capture Samuel L. Jackson's likeness. What do you think? Do you think they did it? I think it's pretty good. This is photoreal scanning, okay? Although I think episode 2, I think they just started doing that, right? So, but I don't think they were implementing it yet, at least not in the Sideshow figures. I think, but we do see that, and we do see that happen. Actually, your Black Series figures, and even some of the Vintage Collection figures have some pretty accurate face sculpt that rival and actually beat this. But for the time it came out, it was really, really well done, and it beat the Collector Series figures, as did Kit Fisto. I mean, and so much so that I've actually started selling off all my Collector Series figures. People ask me why are you doing that? I thought you were like going to try. And I did. I had almost a complete collection of Collector Series figures. They just didn't look good to me anymore. I mean, they looked very like bigger heads. They almost look cartoon-like. So I kept any of them that I don't have a Hot Toys version of. If I have a Hot Toys or a Sideshow version of the figure, I'm putting the other ones up to sell. If I don't, then I'll hold on to it for a little while longer. But yeah, that's kind of where my brain is right now, because part of it is space. You can see around me, there's not much more room to put things, and I have other rooms too. But I don't want it to be so packed and that you can't even enjoy the collection. You don't want that either. So back to Mace. So he's got he's got his nice belt on the back. I will tell you, the belt has got like a pleathery kind of or canvasy kind of way to it, and there is a little bit of damage. I don't know if you can see it. The back of the belt there, you can see right here. It's just, these are very delicate, and I haven't done anything. It's not like I took this figure out and played with it. I mean, it's just been standing like this with the robe on in a display case. But even just manhandling delicately the belt to adjust it, okay, can cause it to age and deteriorate. So you got to be careful with that. But his overall look, his trousers, his boots, obviously the boots are a hard plastic like all the boots, which actually serves a good purpose. It keeps them. This one obviously would have a much better time standing on its own. I use the stands that they come with. The stands are great. They come with a little year, so I know what year they came out. And just fantastic overall. Again, come with the pouches that are the attention to details amazing. The pouches all open up like clamshells, and you can put stuff in. And again, like I mentioned with Obi-Wan in the last episode, I think there were many more accessories. I keep starting to say this. One of the accessories that a lot of these figures come with are different types of hands. Okay, that gripping hand, a force hand, that type of thing. And that's great. I did sometimes have to, and it depends on when they shipped them. When they shipped them to me, if they didn't have a grip hand, well, then I had to put a grip hand on. But the problem is that I've had issues with Sideshow figures where they kind of come off at the wrist. There's like a little ball lock thing you just kind of get. You have to just kind of force it in. And the problem is that sometimes it was hard to do. And that might have also attributed to some of the damage done on the back with the belt, because I had to kind of hold it to do something, and I probably should have taken the belt off, but again, I was afraid to do too much handling of the belt. So the delicacy of these is really, really tough. So you got to be really careful with that. All right, but overall, a fantastic figure, a reasonable likeness to Samuel L. Jackson, and I very much appreciate the effort that was gone in with these two figures, who were featured prominently in the episode 2 Geonosis battle. So I thought it was kind of cool to put them together, which, by the way, is 20 years old. Let's think about that. 2002, Attack of the Clones. These characters, Kit Fisto is 20. I mean, maybe he's a little older if he was created maybe as an idea for Phantom Menace that they didn't use. Who knows? But if his birth was when we first see him on screen, then it is his 20th birthday this year. Happy birthday, Kit Fisto. And of course, Mace WIndu made an appearance earlier, so he's a little bit older than that. And it's so great to see a toy version, like a high-end toy collectible action figure versions of these two awesome Jedi. So I want to thank everybody for watching this episode. I hope you've been enjoying these. I will come back and forth to these. They will not be released on a regular basis. I generally do like to shoot 2 videos at a time. And so that's why these were kind of both released back to back. But I hope to, kind of take a break from it, come back to it, take a break from it. As I said, there are plenty of figures to do this with, and probably I think is at least 40 or 50 that I own. So it'll take a few episodes to get through all these. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, do all that stuff. Please subscribe to the channel. If you spread the word about the channel. I know it's not as fancy as many other channels, but it's a sincere channel. I do simply want to share my love of Star Wars collecting with whoever's interested in seeing it. And leave comments. I love to keep conversations going, so thanks to those of you that have done that. Check out my podcast, War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast that I share with John Martali, and that you can find that wherever there are podcast releases. Until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you.